Hey there, welcome back to my channel, Ashley's Oasis. Today we're going to be talking about, you may have seen it in the title, don't get even, just move on. And this is coming from a place of just recognizing that some things aren't worth your energy, some things aren't worth your time. Sometimes you might find yourself in situations where you've exhausted all your options and trying to solve problems. How can I say this? The nice way. But it just, for whatever reason, isn't working out that way. And I definitely can relate. I've been in situations where I try to resolve things the decent way and still just went down the poop chute, so to speak. So, and in those situations, I know a lot of people are, kind of fall into that whole mindset of, just be petty and get your lick back and all this stuff. But I don't believe in that. I don't practice that. At the end of the day, I feel like, especially if you're an adult and it's another adult you're having beef with, there are better ways to handle it. Yeah, one way to handle it is to talk it out if you feel like you need to, or if it's even worth it to, because again, you know what individual you're dealing with. And some people in this life, you can sit there and talk to them till you're blue in the face, and they'll still turn around and keep doing the same things that you may have told them was bothering you, or whatever. And I believe that, all grown people are old enough to know better, and they know what they're doing, and they know why they're doing what they're doing. So to have another grown person to have to correct them is really quite sad, in my opinion. Because I'm the type of person that if I'm doing wrong and I know I'm doing wrong, no one has to tell me, I'm going to do my best to fix it. But I recognize that everyone is not like me. And you might also be coming to that same realization. So, it kind of taps into that whole saying that, the best revenge is, success. To just glow up on them and not worry about how they perceive whatever it is that you guys may have been beefing about to begin with. Um, One instance for me I can think of was having to talk to some people about, things that they may have said or done in the past towards me, and having to address that with them. And again, it seemed like I was always finding myself in this pattern of having to tell these same groups of people, um, my family, same groups of people, like, hey, when you say this or you do that, that bothers me, it upsets me. And just coming from a place of always feeling like I would vocalize how I would feel, but just still not be heard and or have my boundaries respected, I just grew to just not say anything at all and or just, ignore it. um Originally, yeah, with the hopes that it just go away, or that, the people would just get a clue and figure it out. But now in my older age, I recognize, like, no, I just ignore stuff because I control what my energy goes to, and I don't have to give that power away for free to people, whether they family or otherwise, who are prodding me for that. You ultimately are in control of your power, your energy. You don't have to give it away senselessly. And you also don't have to sit around here explaining yourself 211 times. You ain't got to do all of that. If someone you've been dealing with, whether it's friend, whether it's coworker, whether it's a significant other, whatever, and you've repeatedly told them on multiple occasions, hey, I don't like this, I don't like that, and they're still doing those things, likelihood is that they're not going to change. Regardless of you asking them to, regardless of you pointing out how it affects you, because at the end of the day, it doesn't affect them, it doesn't impact them. So that's why they're okay with continuing with that behavior. And ultimately, we know in this world we can only change us. We can't fix and change everybody else around us. So the only options are to, just move on and hope that they figure it out. And even if they don't figure out, guess what? It doesn't matter, because it's no longer your problem. You no longer are surrounding yourself with those individuals or putting yourself in the same situations to have to repeatedly reiterate your boundaries, because your boundaries are your own, and it is important that you enforce them and make sure that you set them up in the first place. But it is completely up to other people whether they choose to respect those boundaries or not. So yeah, you don't have to go out here and slash nobody's car tires up, and oh, well, they cheat on me, so I'm gonna cheat on them. And like, that's is very childish. That shows a very low emotional, social emotional learning. Like, you don't have to do all of those things. And if you are someone who does do those things, I hope that you get the help that you need, because baby, that's not normal and that's not natural. That is a very childish way of handling things. It's one thing to want to remove yourself from a person, place, or thing, or whatever that is impacting you, and you just like, hey, I don't got no ill will. I just want to be done with it. That's, practicing emotional intelligence of a higher level, because when you give things that energy, that tit for tat, that back and forth, it just keeps the cycle going. If you're so pigheaded and you don't want to stop, and they're pigheaded and they don't want to stop, who's going to be the one that's going to ultimately step in and say, you know what, this crap got to end. I'm tired, you tired. Somebody got to be the bigger person, so to speak. But the only other obstacle, the only other option would to be just remove yourself entirely, if it's not going to if it's not going to impact your finances, if it's not going to impact your living situation or living arrangement, and if you have the means, just remove yourself. There's no need to get ugly. There really isn't. I find that a lot of people who do live by that type of mind frame and code oftentimes find themselves alone at the end of the day, and or in at the end of life, because they've essentially annoyed or pestered or bugged all the people who did care about them, and because they didn't want to respect their boundaries or respect what they were asking from them, whether that be privacy, whether that be just trusting that they know how to make their own decisions for themselves, because there's some individuals that just think that they know what's best for everyone, and that's not always the case. So you have to remind yourself that, you know what, I'm better than this. I don't have to stay here. I don't have to tolerate this from that person. I can remove myself. And I know that that's not always an easy thing to do, especially if it's in case of like family. I know we might, have this thinking that their family, so accept them no matter what they do to me. I'm gonna love them and roll on with them anyway, because they my family. But it's like, yeah, but family can be toxic too. And you know those individuals who trigger you and push your buttons, because I definitely encountered family members of my own who would trigger me or push my buttons, or push me out of my character. And I would never feel right after the fact. I would always beat myself up. I'm like, that they were just goading you. They were just trying to get a reaction out of you. So why give that energy to them? And I would fall for it most of the time, hook, line, and sinker, until I ultimately one day woke up and recognized, like, you know what? I really am sick and tired of going through this circle. I'm tired of going through this rigmarole with these particular individuals. I love them, and you can love them and still have nothing, want nothing but the best for them, but you may not be able to just be around them. And so for me, I like to live with a mindset that I like to do the least, take the route that causes the least amount of harm. But at the end of the day, ultimately, I'm going to do what's best for me. And you could be a person that still struggles with asserting yourself and speaking up for yourself in that department. And that's something that will come with time. And the more you flex that muscle, the better you will get at it. Just like, saying no, because it is a complete sentence. If people are, trying to infringe on your boundaries, and you've told them no for whatever reason, you in the grand scheme of things, you don't have to give a reason. You just know, and that's that. It's a complete sentence. If someone bugs out or wigs out after you say no, then that shows you that they never respected your boundary in the first place, and that they were banking on you pushing your boundaries to the side for them to continue the attack or assault or the abuse or whatever it was. You don't have to accept that. You don't have to accept any type of slander or rumors, or if they gossiping about you and you confront them and they lying to you up and down in your face. You ain't got to stick around for that. At the end of the day, someone's always going to have something to say about something that you do or don't do. Ultimately, as long as you know it ain't true, that's all that matters. You don't have to push yourself to still stay around those people, especially if anytime you go around them, it ain't nothing but negativity going on. So all you should really look to do is just remove yourself. But I know there's going to be some people that hear this video and just, oh, but it's my cousin, or oh, it's my sister, or oh, it's my boyfriend, or oh, it's my girlfriend, or it's my baby. You have to love you. You have to love you more than any of them. I'm sorry, it had to be said. You have to put you first, because if you don't put you first, no one else will. No one else is going to love you, care for you, and treat you the way that you deserve to be treated if you're not doing it yourself. If you're not showing your own self that love and respecting your own personal boundaries and knowing where those morals, you won't cross those certain lines, they're not going to do it for you. Oftentimes when people know that they can get over on you and you're like the gift that keeps on giving, so to speak, they'll keep coming back and back and back to do a little more towards you each time. And their way of thinking, oh well, they'll accept it because I did this and such to them last time, so, and they accepted it, so if I do this and then some, they'll accept that too. No, you have to put your foot down. You have to be firm. You have to love yourself more than you need these people around you, because ultimately you don't need anyone but you. You don't. If you have a good friend group or family unit or spouse or whatever, that's great for you. That's great. Who, people who respect your boundaries, who show up for you the way that they need to show up for you. But if they're not, you need to remove yourself from them ASAP, because all they're doing is robbing you of your happiness, of your joy, of energy and time that you could be spending on something positive, on other people who actually care about you and want to show up for you and respect you. You could be putting all of that energy into them instead, or putting it, into yourself, to improve yourself. But you can't do that if you have people around you who constantly just want to pick at you and see you out of sorts, and they're not happy unless you're having a bad day, those type of individuals. And unfortunately, I do feel like people like that are running more rampant. It's getting harder and harder to find just genuine, authentic people. And I know if you consider yourself a so-called chosen one, you are dealing with that. You've been dealing with that pretty much lifelong, but you may have just recently awakened to the fact that you deserve better, and you're finally stepping in your authenticity. You're finally standing on your principles and your morals, and you're not willing to relinquish that for anybody. And I applaud you, because you shouldn't. People will treat you how you let them treat you. They will do you all types of way. And there are some cases and scenarios where there's nothing more that you can do than to leave. So I hope this message, finds you well. I know it's still early in the week, but I hope that everything's going well. And if it isn't, I hope that things get better. Continue to search for positivity wherever you can and hold on to it for dear life. If, like I said, if you're one of those individuals who have a solid family group, friend group, a spouse, whatever makes you happy, career, whatever it is that you are investing and putting your time and energy to, I hope that it continues to prosper and manifest for you in a way that only helps you to continue on the path that you're going and to rise even higher. So love yourself, continue to take care of yourself, continue to take those breaks when you need to, continue to show up for yourself. Don't let anyone make you forget how important you are, because you are important. And I hope that you know that. But until next time, see you.